Hi, I'm Aaron Martens. We're here at Lake Lanier. Springtime. Fish are in pre-spawn, post-spawn. One of the better ways of catching fish in that mode that I found is actually a jerkbait. And this one right here is the new Megabass Vision 110 Magnum. It's a little bigger. It's brand new this year, and I've been using it for a few months now. It's been working really good. I got this one on 12-pound line, 12-pound sunline shooter. We're fishing riprap. We're not fishing over real deep water. Fishing maybe over up to 12 feet of water, but most of the fish come out of about 7, 8 feet of water. You could use 14 or 16 even, but I try to go as heavy as possible. But I'm trying to get down to the beds a little bit, down a little bit deeper. So that's why I'm using the 12-pound. If I was fishing 4 feet of water, 5 feet of water, I'd put 20-pound shooter on there. But if I was fishing, maybe try to get down to fishing 7, 8, 10 feet of water, I'd fish a 10-pound. But a slight pause. Water's about 70 degrees, 67 in the morning. So it's a slight pause. Maybe a 2 or 3 second pause in between jerks. Anytime you throw a jerkbait, any jerkbait, you want to put some pauses in there. As it gets warmer, fish get off to spawn, they start moving around more, you don't have to pause it as much. As they're coming up on the beds, water, cold front, water's cold, maybe a 5, 10 second pause. So you just gotta experiment, but that's one of my favorite ways of catching fish in pre-spawn is a jerkbait. Now again, as a Megabass Vision 110 Magnum, quite a bit bigger than the original. Now it's, obviously, the sun's bright this morning. It's early still. It's about 8:30 in the morning. Not a lot of wind. It's blowing out of northwest. Presentation's critical in this when you throw in a jerkbait. This is a Vision 110 Magnum. If I was throwing a jerkbait in this situation in a tournament right now, like I said, they're pre-spawn, spawn. They're actually on beds. Water's a little cold in the morning. Sun hasn't been out long. You want to really, most likely you're going to really go slow unless you can find some wind where the wind's blowing, you got some post-spawners that are actually moving and feeding. These fish are actually on the bed. They're going to be sitting there inactive. So you're going to have to give them a chance to come up for the bait. If you just rip it by them like a normal, pause a couple seconds, keep on going, you're not going to get a bite probably. You might get one here and there, but you're going to miss a whole bunch of fish. So the way you want to do it, you want to get a nice long cast. Cast out, try to get a good, 80, 90, 100 foot cast. So the bait gets down there a little bit, to the depth you want it. But usually I'll give it a couple twitches and I'll sit and just watch your line. You always want to watch the line while you're fishing a jerkbait, even in the wind. Even if the wind's blowing really hard, you still want to watch to see if your line's pulling out. Because a lot of times, this fish, they're biting a hard bait with hooks on it. So you want to get them as quick as possible when they hit it. So you always want to constantly watch your line. Pay attention to your rod tip. You want a nice sensitive rod. I use the Megabass rods, but it's almost like when you're fishing a worm or a Carolina rig. You gotta feel the bite, because most of them aren't gonna bite on the jerk. They're gonna bite it when it's sitting there. Your line's gonna either you'll feel a tick, or you're gonna feel it all of a sudden start to pull. And you want to get them as quick as possible. But literally, like how I'm working right now, that's about what you want to do first thing in the morning until you find a speed that they like. But in the morning, it's usually, you have to go pretty slow. Give it small twitches. You can give it a big pull, let it sit. Almost like you're swimming, you're working the bait along. As it warms up, of course, you can speed up. But it's gonna be, slow motion in the morning. I'd say, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, your bite will start to turn on a little better. By the afternoon, you can go about 5 times faster. But just work on the retrieve. It's really important when throwing a rip bait. What I really like about this Vision 110 Magnum, it has the same characteristics as the original Vision 110. They did a really good job at designing it. It has these flat corners on the bottom. I think is one of the reasons it makes it such a good bait, why it has such a tight wiggle. And really the thing I like about this bait the most, and I think why a lot of elite pros and other people I know throw this bait, even though they're sponsored by other people, I can say that, right? Is it casts like unbelievable. It's got a small bill on it. It's got the flat, the flat edge on the belly, which is I think what gives it its action without having a big bill. But then, this one sits pretty flat. This is a Magnum. It sits pretty flat in the water, but it casts like the Vision 110, and it doesn't have a weight transfer. So I was, when I first got this bait, I was checking it out, and I was kind of concerned about that. But it flies straight. I mean, it flies tail first and doesn't flop around. It goes straight almost every single time you cast. So that's one of the reasons I like these baits so much, is because you can cast them all day without backlashing. You know how if you throw jerkbaits, how frustrating they can be. Once they start to flop, it's like a spinnerbait helicoptering. Basically, a jerkbait does that too, and it'll just backlash you. So you want something that's going to cast really easy. It works really easy. It won't wear you down. Basically, like when you pull it, you barely feel it at all. You do feel the wiggle, but it's not like you're pulling it. It's like it's coming towards you. And they eat it like like no other jerkbait I've ever thrown. So it's a dynamite bait. Okay, one of the things they might want to do the Vision 110s. They come with the out barb on them, or basically like a sticky hook. And the reasons you might want to throw those or use them on your bait is because if you're using a 6 or 8 pound line on this bait, the hooks will go in on their own. Like basically, a fish comes up and like slaps at the bait, and you just feel them a little bit, you're probably going to stick them. So they're good hooks for light line, but if you get into like even 8 and 10, 12 pound line, you're definitely going to want to change your hooks, because you don't want to hook a big fish and straighten the hooks up, because they they will flex out on you. And a new hook I've been using by Gamakatsu is my new favorite Gamakatsu hook. It's a round bend short shank, and these short shank hooks have been getting really popular the last few years. I've been using them a lot, and that's all I use now. I don't use the old traditional normal shank hooks. I don't use anymore. I use all short shanks, and it just seems to hold the fish better, especially on reaction baits and you have multiple hooks. Can't tell you why for sure, but I think it's definitely it's a way shorter hook, and my catch ratio has definitely gone up over the last since I've been using them. But that is the short shank round bend Gamakatsu is what I use. And the Vision 110, the normal Vision 110, size 6s I put on it, 3 size 6s, and on the Vision 110 Magnum, I'll go with the 4s. I'm going to talk about equipment, rods and reels for throwing the Magnum, Vision 110 Magnum and the Vision 110 original. The Magnum's quite a bit bigger than the Vision 110, so I've been tending to use this is a 7.2 racing condition. It's a medium action Megabass rod. Really light rod and weight, but it's got like a nice, get the tip on there, still got a nice tip. You want some sensitivity, but I believe when you're casting that bait, a lot of times you're casting long casts, downwind, over points. You don't want to be using a 6.5 foot rod on a long cast with a big jerkbait like that. You want something that's got some meat to it. Because like I said, you do make 130 foot casts a lot. And if I get a lot of bites on the long cast, and a 7.2 medium, you don't lose as many fish. You may really got to set the hook on, and you got 3 hooks on it. You got 3 size 4 hooks on the bait. So you got a lot of hooks you got to bury into the fish. A light rod, you will lose fish more. This is a Metanium Shimano. This is a Japanese version of like the Chronarch. It's a really good reel. The cast's really good. It's got big gears in it. Very light reel, which I believe the lightest possible is going to help your sensitivity and longevity of fishing all day without getting tired. Yeah, it's important to pick the right setup. But that's what I use, and that's what I use for the Diablo for the Vision 110. It's a 7 foot. It's 2 inches shorter. Same reel. Okay, all this stuff I've been talking about, the short shank Gamakatsus, SR shank, the Vision 110s, the Vision 110 Magnums, all the sunline that I use, the shooter, the sniper, the braids. Just maybe go check it out and order one of each. Just try it out, and if you're watching this video and you don't know me, I don't lie, and I've always been known to use what works the best. I don't go out and go for money and sponsors. Normally what I use, I think, is the best out there. I got stuff I use that I don't get paid for, that I could get paid for, but I don't, because I like this stuff better. So I'm just saying, go out there and order a few things and just try it out, and if you like it, then start using it.